Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole with Sapphire Soul and Morning Moon. Today we have a special guest, and we are going to go down the rabbit hole of the corruption of Western medicine. Yeah, so I'd like to welcome our special guest, Xavia. Xavia, welcome. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome. Hello, hello. And what got you interested in the corruption of Western medicine?
I would say being misdiagnosed with things throughout my life definitely helps. You feel a little bit helpless in the medical system because you feel like you're surrounded in experts and you should always take their advice over your own. But, you're the one who lives in your body. So really,
Right.
you're the expert on your body. And yeah, that led me to do a lot of research specifically on women. It's interesting, a lot of medical research isn't even done on women. There are reasons for that we could go into, but only up until like 1993 were they included in a lot of medical studies.
Damn,
Really? I did not know that.
no way.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and well, it's okay. So if you know, do you know what phthalimide is?
Mhm.
I've heard of that, but
Yeah, so
explain it.
it was given to pregnant women. Um, it was invented in Germany. It was kind of like a sedative, but it would help with morning sickness. And, if you're looking at drug trials, because women weren't necessarily included in them, it caused a lot of really, really bad
Birth defects,
birth
right?
defects. Yep. And a lot of them were physical and, brain defects, but mostly physical. And then they realized, oh, well, maybe women shouldn't be taking this. um, but yeah, in the 70s here, they were saying that most women who were childbearing age should be excluded from phase one and phase two drug studies, specifically because it could cause birth defects and they didn't really want to measure that, or I assume be responsible for it. So they were excluded um, for about 20 years, just because they assumed it could be dangerous for them and they didn't want to cause birth defects, which is funny because really somebody has to do those studies. Um,
Yeah, how are you gonna know?
exactly.
Damn, but the 90s is so recent. Like that is really fucked up.
It is when you think
Yeah.
about it.
I know that so I worked in naturopathic medicine starting in 2008 until like 2024. Um I know that many of our clients that would come in, they would be doctor hopping, and every single doctor would give them a different diagnosis, a different
A
treatment
different
plan,
prescription,
different
Yep.
different.
prescription, different ideas on what was happening. And I had one client who had a UTI, and she kept going to all these different doctors, and they kept giving her different reasons why it kept reoccurring. Well, come to find out, it was because her husband and her were kept passing it back and forth, and the only one that said that to her was a naturopath, and like
It's
actually like
usually how it
look
works. They look at
right.
the whole body. I worked for one too, and around the same time frame. Not as long as you, not until 2024, but
Yeah.
they actually look at everything instead of just like one symptom. For like I had to go to so many doctors to try to figure out what was going on, like with my ear. It
Yeah.
was insane, like literally like months of waiting on like a wait list, and then they're like, oh, we can't help you, you have to go to a neurologist or whatever. There's like all these specialists that don't talk, they don't even like connect. So it's like, how do you know? Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
mean to interrupt you.
no, you're good. So Zavia, what do you know about how the Western medical came to be? Like, I know that there's a lot of talk about Rockefeller and the Flexner report. But why is it that we are so reliant on pharmaceuticals, and how did we get so far away from natural medicine and like listening to our bodies, because they don't even treat the whole person anymore, they just treat the symptom and
Mm-mm.
they like send you on your
They
way.
do.
Well, and it's like you were saying, all these specialists don't talk to each other. Like, for example, I got really sick. I was like 22, 23, and they were like, you have fibromyalgia and all this crazy stuff. And I was like, are you guys sure? that this is just what's wrong. I'm sorry, my dog has a squeaky toy. She thinks this is the perfect time. Um,
Should be playing with Lacy's dog.
I
yeah,
know. Right?
yeah. But so I was going back and forth between all these specialists, and like you said, not one treats the whole body.
Mm-mm.
Um, and so they were like, "Well, see what this specialist said. Even now, I have this thyroid disorder, and it's an autoimmune." And it's funny. I was actually talking to my endocrinologist because she's like, "Oh, your blood work looks great." And I mean, it's because I've been changing my diet and I take supplements and I'm trying to keep my stress down. But she's like, "It's the magic pill that's gonna fix you." And I was like, "Hey, I read somewhere that this works better with zinc and magnesium." And she was like, "Well, no, the only thing that would actually help your thyroid is selenium, but those studies were only done in countries that are like they're selenium
Like in their
deficient."
food or
Yeah,
whatever.
but what's funny about that when she said that was if you think about how we grow our food now,
Mm.
um, the soil is where all those nutrients come from. So then what happens if you're only using chemical fertilizers? So that does go back, I think, with that
Mm.
the pharmaceutical aspect of Western medicine. I think that it's always been that science isn't perfect, right? So it's practicing science. So you discover something new and then you go from there and go from there and go from there. And I think once they started to figure out germ theory and figure out anatomy and go through all these phases, they started to, it's hubris, right? Like they just thought they were unstoppable because they were making all these advancements. And I think with industrialization, if you look at World War II specifically, the chemicals and new things being made,
Fluoride, all of that. Didn't we get that from Germany? Like the whole Operation Paperclip thing,
well,
right?
it's what's even fun. This one I didn't put this in my notes, but it's one of my favorite facts. There was a gentleman named Fritz Haber during World War II. So he was a German Jew, but he was manufacturing chemical weapons for Germany. So he actually invented Zyklon. Well, sort of. He changed the formula for Zyklon, which actually the US used on Mexicans first. It was a pesticide.
Ooh,
That's what the bath riots are. They would spray it on them because they thought they had lice. And so Fritz Haber actually changed the formula so the Nazis could use it,
in the
as a gas.
water.
Uh-huh.
Oh, oh,
So it's
okay.
Zyklon A and Zyklon B. But what Fritz Haber actually also did was it's known as the Haber-Bosch process, and it's where they essentially figured out how to extract nitrogen out of thin air to use
Mm.
for nitrogen fertilizers. So a lot of the food we eat today isn't actually naturally occurring nitrogen. It's nitrogen from the Haber-Bosch process. And I always thought that was so funny because
That is fascinating.
yeah, in at that time the population was like 1.5 billion and they were like, "Oh my gosh, there's too many people." And then due to this, he did the one bad thing, so but the opposite end of it is he took part in inventing something that's probably responsible for 50 to 60% of our population even having food.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's
Tiny
so
Whoa.
weird. Yeah, but
you.
I mean if you think about it, so then we're growing food with chemical
Yeah.
means, so pesticides, agricultural chemicals, like even those fertilizers, like
The
what do we know about it?
antibiotics, all the stuff that they put in the. Have you guys seen the thing about the chicken lately or the meat? Like, I literally just had to throw away meat that was, it looked fake. Like, I
Oh,
was
Oh
like, I
yeah.
cannot feed
The
this to my
printed, the
family.
3D meat. Did
I
you
don't
hear?
know. I
I've
got
heard
it. I
that.
normally go to Costco, but I got it like somewhere like Winco or something cheaper because I just picked up a bag of chicken. I'm not kidding you. I went to like defrost it and like washing it, and it's just
Oh.
stringing apart. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, I can't. So I just threw the whole thing away. It was so gross. It have you guys like I
Yeah,
then I saw videos. My husband was showing me videos. I'm like, this is a thing. Like,
yeah.
what the hell? Like,
I've
Yeah,
what
they
are
heard
they
do
about him
3D
talking
doing?
printed.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, they do
Roots
3D
printed.
printed meat in the Campbell's soup.
I heard about that.
Yeah, he came out and said that the chicken in Campbell's soup is 3D printed.
That's why it tastes fake. It's always tastes. But what did they do before the 3D printer? Like, because it's always tasted weird, has it not? Am I the only one who thinks that? Like,
I
like
never
canned.
liked Campbell's chicken noodle soup, to be honest with you. I
No,
always
I
thought
don't
it
eat
Oh,
was
Campbell's
weird.
at all. I don't eat it at all. I kind of always like I have this weird conspiracy theory. Like, okay, so in America, the funeral industry, I think we talked about this before, Melissa.
Yes, where are the bodies going? And you know what's messed up? My husband would not stop for like 3 days. You want to go to McDonald's? I'm like, we've talked because he listened to our thing, to our thing. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking
Bro,
McDonald's.
I
You're
think
not
that
funny.
I really truly believe that the funeral industry, the reason they have such a push for cremation is because they actually sell off the bodies to big foods like like McDonald's and shit, and they use that for meat. Like they use it in their
Oh.
burgers and stuff.
I
And
hope
But
so.
there's other people who think that too. Like there's some people that have become, and I don't know, it's hard to tell, right? Like what's real and what's not anymore, right? But with some people have been talking about that for a while. That McDonald's, like, remember, didn't we look up like the how much it would actually, how many cows or whatever it would take to
yeah,
actually feed that many people like burgers? And it's like not, it does not add up at all.
no, it
Well, I know
doesn't.
a lot of people got mad when they found out the meat at Taco Bell was like 60% soy or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but I mean that makes sense. It didn't ever taste like ground beef to me. Not
No.
even as a kid. I
Mm-mm.
was like, there's something else in this.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And then they use all of the pesticides, the glycophosphate. There's a town here that's like, do you guys know where the gorge is at? Of course you know where the
Mm-hmm.
gorge is at, where the
Do you live
gorge
here too?
amphitheater.
No, I'm in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's in Denver. But the gorge, there's a town next to it called Quincy, and there's a book called Faithful Harvest, and it's all about how the soil has been completely ruined by glycophosphates and Roundup, and how like they can't even like there's no microbes or anything in the soil because they've just totally killed off anything that was good inside of it. And so they have to
That's
use
sad.
all of these chemicals to grow all of their crops.
And
It's
that
like,
goes
what do we
back.
eat? We need to grow our own food or like starve, like become
Yeah.
Yeah.
breatharians or whatever it's
It
called.
goes back to the pharmaceutical industry though, because if you look at it, there's chemicals all over everything. So then what do they think? They have a chemical means to fix the mistake, but you're just again treating the symptom. At the end of the day, you're letting the soil
Yeah,
die. You're destroying the ecosystem. You're destroying the natural cycles of nature. And
Yeah.
then you think a pill's gonna fix it. It's the same thing. And we don't realize how expensive it is to our health. We're like, well, but we can make, 1,000 Cheetos with these 2 acres. And you're like, but what's in a Cheeto? Like, is
Yeah,
there
but it's
anything
money.
natural? Yep.
It's all money. Like everything has to do with money. Like it's all goes back to the almighty dollar. And I was doing some research on the medical system and what separated us from like Eastern and Western, and it all goes back to we're keeping people looped into that system because big ag, big
dependent on
pharma,
it.
big Western medicine all plays together so that you can just stay inside their system and keep feeding them money, more money, more money, more money, more
That's why
money.
there's all these like naturopaths and natural like medicine doctors who are like dying, right? Like just disappearing a whole bunch. You've heard about that, right, Lacey?
Yeah. Yeah,
Like they like cancer researchers and like a whole bunch of people who are like actually like trying to change something. They don't want it to be changed because it's the system that keeps us sick. Really,
yeah,
that's like how they profit,
Have
yeah.
you
is to
seen the
keep us.
documentary The Lost Century?
Ooh,
Uh-uh.
I don't
What's that
think
about?
so.
Okay, so it's like a little out there, but it's not. I really enjoyed his research. It's about how we've had 0 point energy for over 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've had all these
Longer than
waves.
that. Like,
Exactly. So he goes through each person who's essentially created an engine that didn't require fossil fuels.
Nikola
Um,
Tesla.
Yep, and you know how those guys either they end up dead and they're the only guy who knew how to make it, and he kind of goes through like, hey, there's no way I can really prove a lot of this, but here's my theory. But one of the main things he talks about is that and Exxon and a couple other oil companies, they would buy up some of these inventions and buy the patents and buy the people out saying that they were going to produce it, and then they never do because they knew it would require change. And that does it goes into agriculture too. Once they started to make these large farms, the farmers became dependent on GMO seeds, then they became dependent on the pesticides. All everything about it is corporation, and then it's under this kind of hippie guys where they're like, but do you want people to starve? Like, we can produce all this food really cheaply. And then you look at all the waste, all the fuel, everything it's doing to the ecosystem. And they look at the economy and they're like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And
Slap a
they're
couple
lining
more
their own
points on it.
pockets at the
Yeah.
top, right? That's so fucked up.
Yeah,
It
they
really
are.
is.
Well, and then with the researchers, all the people like in the medical world, they always say, "Oh, we've got this peer-reviewed research." And it's like, "Well, who's paying for the research?"
Or
Right?
it's hidden. That's the thing is like, if you're, I mean, from a researcher's perspective, and I get it because I've kind of looked into a lot of that school, like I'd love to do lab work,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like some Jurassic Park stuff, right? Like to get
Mm.
funding for that type of thing, you are in some ways going to, I mean, it's the observer effect with science, right? Like what you are viewing is altered based on how you are perceiving how you want the research to go. Um, and that's, they've shown that with scientific studies. That's why peer review is important. But if everyone on your team, as you said, wants it to be a certain way,
Yeah.
you know, things, it can't be recreated. And that's where, like, even talking to my endocrinologist, where she's like, well, it's only in these countries that are selenium deficient. Yeah, but how do we know what food I'm getting? Where's my food coming from? Like, do we know how much selenium is naturally occurring in this specific plant? Because even with that, like a lot of those minerals, they come from environmental, it's an environmental factor in the soil or where it's grown, the region it's grown in. How does the plant hold on to that mineral, or does it produce something if it has more of it? We don't think about that.
No, no. And most people
No,
don't even pay attention to what they're eating half the time anyways, unless you're conscious of it. I mean, and a lot of the sad thing about supplements is a lot of these supplement companies, number one, who are they owned by? Number two, a lot of them have fillers and bullshit that like they don't actually have the amount of the proprietary blend to give you a therapeutic amount of the nutrient that you need. It just keeps like giving you keep taking a supplement that has filler, and so you're not actually getting what you need because again, money, and so they
that's a
just want
good
to make
point.
money. Yeah,
Well,
that's why
It
you
even
have
with
to be
really
that,
really
is.
careful.
even with supplements, it's something I took for my nutrition class, and I was like, that makes so much sense. So if you don't have fibers, carbs, and fats in your
Yeah.
stomach, you could take a supplement all day long, but there's nothing for it to attach to deliver itself to your body.
Oh
So
yeah.
Ooh, that's a
if
really good point. I
like
never
so you,
even thought about that.
right, like it's like, oh, so I still have to eat something with this. You're not just
Right. Right, like vitamin D. If you take vitamin D and you don't take it with a fat, it's a fat soluble vitamin, and so it's not going to be delivered properly. So that's why liposomal supplements are important, or like IV nutrients are like,
Or like liquid, right? Isn't liquid better? Or but I
oh, it
guess it
depends.
depends on how if there's fillers in it. There's a bunch of shit in it, I
Yeah.
suppose. But
from
Yeah.
what I've
And
heard. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, from what I've heard, collagen specifically, the liquid version of it
Hmm.
is
I've
one
heard
of
really good things about that. Has
Hmm.
either of
yeah.
you taken it?
Oh,
I
I've
have
yeah.
friends who like swear by it.
I've
Mhm.
taken the spoiled child because I was seeing ads for it everywhere, and I was like, I really want to. It's so good, and I did. I put it in my smoothies, and I definitely noticed a difference. Usually use powdered collagen just because it's cheaper, but that stuff's so expensive. But it does work really good,
Like
Yeah.
you
and
feel
not
like
just
a
gelatin.
difference like in your skin and everything.
In my hair and my nails mostly.
That's
Yeah.
what I really need for my hair. And yeah,
I keep hearing a lot about NAD in college and how when we turn 40, I mean, I turned 40 in February, like,
I'm
uh,
42, so I
yeah.
feel you. I'm turning
Yeah, yeah.
40.
So like after 40, women and men start to lose collagen and elasticity, and we start to lose the ability to produce collagen. And so if you
Ooh,
take
I did not realize
NAD,
that.
yeah. So if you take NAD, it actually helps you to produce natural collagen in addition to taking the liposomal stuff. Um, so I've heard that if you couple NAD with collagen, that can actually help your hair, skin, and nails a lot more. I've heard a lot of
Do
good,
you,
and it helps with your mental health.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize that collagen is important for joint health too. Like we think about
Yeah.
the cosmetic reasons, but you have tendons and all of our joints, like that's what they're held together with is collagen. You need that elasticity so you don't have injuries.
Yeah.
Now I'm about to go order some collagen. I have a functional medicine doctor that like work.
Like,
I can't remember where she lives, but she like sent me some little thing, and I'm remembering she sent me a bunch of samples, and they were like collagen and like what was the other one? Colostrum,
oh
you
yeah,
know, like
colostrum is really good for you too. Yeah.
there was some other stuff too. She's like an herbalist, and she's pretty like she's got like her own like
The sad
herbal
thing about
line
like
or whatever.
herbalists and shit and like naturopaths, did you know that naturopathic physicians like in Colorado, I don't know if Colorado's the same, but I know in Wyoming, they don't have to be licensed, and so there's no,
Really?
yeah, and
No way. I wish somebody, I wanted to do that so bad when I was younger. And then I'm like, okay, well, it's going to be, I need like a,
yeah,
master's, and then I need to go to like
yeah, you
Bastyr or something for four
no,
years.
no, you
And
can actually
what?
just graduate from some online program. That's why Medicare doesn't cover naturopathy, is because until all 50 states hold the same regulations that like
I
Washington and
did not
Colorado
know that.
do.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you can just print off print off some sort of a
That's
certificate online
insane.
and be like, I'm a naturopath.
That's
Yeah.
kind of fucked up if you think about
It's
it. Like,
super
that's not
fucked up.
right.
There's no
Like,
regulation. Like, there's no
Same with
regulation.
nutritionists. Like you can
Yeah.
say that you're a dietary whatever, and it's not like we talked about that in our nutrition class a lot. Like it is actually almost a PhD to become of that level.
Yep.
And that's what she was saying is they're wrong. A lot of the time they're wrong and they go
Yep.
through that and it's more of a Western medicine nutrition view than the more natural path.
Oh, the
Um,
dietitians. Yeah.
oh yeah, like
exactly.
my
Yeah.
mom is really big on like the whole like going to the doc, like she works for like Optum or whatever.
Oh
And
shit,
like,
with
yeah,
insurance. Yeah.
yeah. So she like works there. She like works like for like the cancer area or whatever. But it's she's always suffering, I feel
Yeah.
like. And I'm always trying to be like, okay, try this, do this, blah, blah, blah. And she like saw like my husband and I when we switched to like carnivore for a little bit and like keto or whatever. We were just trying to like clean out our freaking systems, right? And like figure out like what food sensitivities we had. We had such amazing results. Like, and she wouldn't even try it. And she's like, no, my doctor said, and she goes to like a dietitian. And I don't feel like it really helps her. You know what I mean? Like, they're always
Oh.
just like, they told her to drink like a stupid amount of water. Like I can't remember how much. Like, I don't even know. Like, I couldn't drink that much water if I tried,
If you drink too
right?
much
Like,
water, it actually starts to flush your
it starts to
electrolytes.
like
Yep.
bloat you almost,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's the best thing to
Mm-hmm.
do, especially, I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
hard when people get stuck. I have a lot of clients who come to me, and it's like we're having to break down like this kind of subconscious pattern that they like, they go to the doctor, and their doctor, of course we're like giving them like some type of kind of power over us in a sense, right? Like, they're the doctors, they're the ones who went to school, they know what they're talking about. I know that's why I was when I was younger, but I quickly realized that it just, I don't know about you guys, but the mainstream medical system fucked my body up more than going natural again and like trying to figure it out on my own. Do you have
Wasn't that why?
Hashimoto's?
Yeah.
I have Graves'
Sorry.
disease, so it's the opposite,
Okay.
right? So instead of being hypo, it's
It's
hyper.
hyper.
And it was
Okay.
weird because when I was talking about when I was in my early 20s, I would go in there and I was trying to get temporary disability. And if
Hmm.
you look at it from a legal standpoint, if the doctor says try this drug, and you refuse it, you
They
cannot
won't give it
qualify.
to you.
They won't give it to you. Like you have to exhaust every available treatment that they offer you. So they're going to offer you some like really weird crap. They were like, if I told you the amount of drugs that they had me on, I like in hindsight, like when I was looking on it, I was like, they were trying to kill me. Like
Girl,
that's
I
no.
believe you. Like, they did that shit to me with like I had like endometriosis, and they
Mhm.
kept giving me like surgery. I had really good insurance at the time, like surgery after like laparoscopies, and then giving me opiates like jelly
Yep.
beans. Like,
Yep.
I'm not kidding. I got addicted to opiates from my doctor. I swear to God. Like, I
Yeah.
wasn't like, I didn't even know.
They had me on, they were prescribing me monthly. It was like 120 gabapentin, 80
Those are so
oxys.
bad. Have you guys
Dude,
seen
gabapent's
that? What it
so
does?
bad.
It's
It
so
actually
bad.
creates dementia.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
like told them because they
Yeah.
were like, okay, so I had standing prescription of gabapentin, Percocet, and
Fuck.
Oxy, plus like all these other random like Voltaren gel, which now you don't need a prescription for it. But I was like, this stuff doesn't work. But
Mm-mm.
what was super crazy about it was I had really bad neck and shoulder pain, and so they took me in for an MRI, and that's how they found something on my thyroid. And I ended up talking to them after that, and what I think it was stress on my thyroid because it was my parathyroid from pregnancy. So when you're pregnant, your body
Every
is
time I get pregnant, my thyroid fucks up.
yeah, so during
Every
pregnancy,
time.
what are you doing? You're making bones and teeth, right? So your body does not care where the calcium comes from. If it's not available in your blood from your diet, you can take as many prenatal supplements as you want. If your body's like, nope, we're going to be making bones and teeth today, it starts pulling it out of your system. And your parathyroid is what regulates the calcium. So what they were saying was that it was like a goiter, like it was overclocked. And I
That
was like,
happened to me too. Then they
yeah,
told me that, and then they're like, we need to run your blood. Sorry, my internet's like slow, guys. So I hope I'm not. I think there's a delay. Um, they told me they needed to run my blood, and then they told me it was within the normal range, and basically to fuck off. There was nothing they
same
could
thing.
do.
They were like, there's something on your neck.
What was the
But
gabapentin supposed to do?
so it's supposed to help with nerve pain because they were like, you're in pain. Like I was in physical pain where like chronic fatigue, right? Where like I would just do a small amount and I would feel like I had a flu, like my whole body. I was like, something's going on. And they're like, here, take all these drugs. I think I was just really stressed out. To be
Probably,
honest with you.
I believe that emotions become
Yeah.
trapped in our bodies and they
Yeah.
express themselves with physical symptoms.
Yeah. So I was super unhappy. I was really depressed, really anxious. And then on top of that, I had all these things, so I couldn't work. And I was like, I need your help. Like, what do I do?
It's a hopeless feeling to
It
be in that
really is.
position. It
Hmm.
really is. It's the worst feeling to feel like the experts can't fucking help me. So like I'm on my own. Have
Yeah.
you tried detoxing? You know what got rid of the goiter that I had? I actually started just like detoxing heavy metals. I found this like spray or whatever, and I was desperate, right? Because I was trying everything and I felt like shit, like you, but mine was like I think more hypo, right?
Hmm.
And I just felt fatigued. My joints ached, all the different things that kind of you're talking about. And I didn't feel like myself at all. And that's actually what kind of kick started my healing. And then I changed my diet, kind of like you mentioned. Like I
Yeah. It's
shifted
all
my
in the
diet.
gut. It really is. Like, even with all that stuff, they didn't figure out the pregnancy thing. I was doing research online, my own research, before the internet was all ads and could
Yeah.
find some really fun stuff. Uh, but yeah, I was doing it, and a lot of people were saying with the thyroid stuff that it can register in that normal range, but see, that goes back to them not doing these studies on women,
Tests.
right?
Yeah. Or
So,
yeah.
okay, our hormones are weirder than men's. Like they just are.
For sure.
Like they
Yeah.
cycle monthly, and
Bullshit. Whose idea was this? What did we do?
yeah, it's completely different based on the week. So then they're doing these studies on men and their hormone health and what's going on with their thyroid and their organs. And this
But
dude's
that's
just like
irrelevant,
all the
right?
time, he's pretty regulated. Like they say testosterone in men can change from like if, and this is the weirdest study, and I've told so many men this, and they're like, I don't know. And I was like, I can predict my hormones based on the day of the month, right? Like I'm like, oh, I'm being
Fast like a girl. Have you guys read that?
uh-uh.
Yeah, I have.
Fast like a girl. That's what she does, right? Lacy, doesn't she
Okay.
like
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Maybe she's the one who did the documentary I watched, but it really stood out. She said that men's testosterone will increase like with an emotional response, but it's not as predictable, right? Like their favorite sports team loses,
Yeah.
or they get upset about a political thing, and then all of a sudden their testosterone goes wild, and like they're like, you guys are unpredictable. And I'm like, no, I know what's going on with me today. But so in that sense, like those studies for men, they're done on the long term. So how do you cause stress in a man that's hormonal? um
Yeah.
Triggered, and then with women, like that's our entire, I'm not going to say my mood is hormonally triggered, but I'm like, oh, I feel different today, I must be ovulating,
Well, we
like
go through, that testosterone. What's her name? Do you remember her name, Lacy? The Fast Like a Girl, the doctor. What is it? Dr. Mindy
I
Peltz
I
or
don't
Mindy.
remember. Uh-uh.
She says that the best time for women to do anything creative, right, is like she basically, like how fasting, this goes back to what you were saying about like how they do the studies on the men. So up until I feel like this woman, maybe before it became like a big thing, right? Like, or a bigger thing, it was based on men. So women, even when like nutritional people, fitness people are like, oh yeah, fast or whatever. And there's a different way that women need to fast based on their cycle. And she
Mhm.
says, I don't remember it. You guys would have to like look it up, but like the week of ovulation is like the best week to like tackle problems. So like if you've got like issues with like your partner or something, like a woman's going to respond better during that week. And we have a hit of testosterone. We have more testosterone during the week of ovulation than any other time in our entire cycle. So it's like the prime time to like do things basically. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I read
Oh
that
yeah,
one.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
like
did
when
you
a
know
woman's
that
body.
men have like a time in their hormonal cycle where they almost have like a period?
I heard that, but where is it? Like, when does it happen? Like, when
Right?
we're
Like
having one?
I can tell.
Like,
I can tell
tell
when
us the signs. Like,
I
what
can
happens?
tell they get aggressive and they get depressed and they act like jerks and they get like moody.
And it's not just a side effect from us.
No, it's them. They have like it's they're like I think it's their and I don't remember what it's called. It's not their testosterone, but it's like their
I gotta
androsterone. It
look this
drops.
up.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a man period. Not even joking. It's like a man period for real. Isn't that crazy?
So
Like
like they don't have enough oxytocin or some sort of
no,
endorphins to like.
it's adreno. Hold on.
Men have
Um,
hormonal cycles. They're not the same as
yeah.
a menstrual cycle,
No,
but they do have rhythms and
they
fluctuations
they
that can mimic a
do.
monthly period.
They do. It's crazy.
Testosterone peaks in the morning, drops throughout the day, lowest in the evening. But here's the kicker: monthly and seasonal cycles also exist. Research
Yeah.
shows testosterone can fluctuate on a rough 28 to 35-day cycle, meaning mood shifts, irritability, basically all the things we go through, low libido.
Yeah.
IMS, irritable male syndrome. Shut up.
Yeah.
They
Um,
just now discovered that. That's good. So they should be paying attention to their cycles too.
yeah,
Right?
Everyone would be better off if they did. Like, I'm
right.
Right?
irritable today because my testosterone is low. Interesting.
Right?
You know?
Extra. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's silly. Okay, so one thing that I noticed back to the medical industry, one thing that I noticed about the medical industry that they really don't take into consideration is our like spiritual body and like our emotional health. And back to what you were saying, Alyssa, about how emotions get trapped in our body. I think it's really
Yeah.
important for us to take note of that and to take note of like what our spiritual health is like. I feel like the medical industry tries to like put compartmentalize different,
They
like
do.
and they
They
totally
literally
like
do.
completely don't even take a look at our emotional or our spiritual health one bit. And
Mm-mm.
that is such a pivotal component of our well-being that like if your emotional health isn't in check and they're just throwing like antidepressants at us,
Oh
like
my God, don't get me started on that. Like,
oh my
don't.
God, my
Like,
husband,
that's like a whole.
But it's a good point though. Like I was saying with that gut thing, people don't realize that all of those chemicals are formed in your gut and then it gets
yeah,
set back up
That's
to your
why
brain.
they call it like the second brain, right?
Yeah. So if those aren't being moved and processed, what system does that? It's your lymphatic system, your bloodstream, your nervous system needs certain things to have those electrical impulses, right? So
right,
Absolutely.
what's funny is women specifically are more likely to get diagnosed with things like autoimmune, nervous system disorders, fibromyalgia, stuff like that, chronic pain issues. And it's funny, like you were saying about the thyroid thing, like as Lacy was saying with the spiritual aspect, that's kind of why I've always liked yoga and the
mm,
correlation with chakras, because it
mm-hmm,
is quite interesting when you think about that as being a path of the endocrine system, and it's
It
like an
is.
ancient concept, right? So I was like,
My
well,
acupuncturist goes off those same meridians, right?
yep.
And yeah, that's absolutely. Sorry
But
to
yeah,
interrupt you. Keep going.
that throat chakra, right? So like we have repressed anger. Like it's not
Right.
it's and generationally too, right? We're not really you're being a bitch or you're too outspoken or you're crazy or there's something and you were just saying something that a man could have said. Because and that's like coming off as super feminist at this point, but I was like, no, that's
No, it makes
interesting
sense. It's
because yeah, go
That's
ahead.
what I do. I don't know if you know what I do, but like I do like deep like soul work with my clients. So and I do hypnotherapy and like I work with couples and somatics and all that kind of stuff. But really like what I do is help people like actually get to the root of the of the emotional stuff. That I think that's what really healed my thyroid was I started looking because I was desperate, right? I was desperate to find answers because the doctors weren't giving them. And I kept going to all these specialists and I just kept getting my hopes up just to like feel like it like came crashing down. And I started like actually getting to the root of the emotions and I started unraveling them. And as I did that, it's the same thing I do with clients now. We get to the root of whatever the physical issue is. We go right to the emotional component. Sometimes it's ancestral, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's something that happened in childhood. Sometimes it's from a past relationship that we haven't actually like where we haven't fully met ourselves. So I think that's important. Like the whole mind, body, soul connect. It all goes together. And we have an energy body. Like that's part of we have a biofield. Every single it's not like woo-woo. It's totally fucking like a based scientific fucking thing, really. Like
Yeah.
we all have like a field and we're interacting. And that's where I think the energy gets stuck. And then it eventually will move into the etheric body, which is like closest to your physical body, right? And then we'll start to have physical symptoms, right?
Mhm.
So that's my
Yeah,
sorry,
well,
my
have you read The
spiel on
Body
that.
Keeps the Score?
Yes, I
Yes.
was actually going to say that too. Louise
Yeah.
Hay is another good, quick, like for people who are watching this that are like, oh, what are they talking about? Like, that's another, like, really simple, like, she has like an A to Z type of thing, like, which is interesting. I didn't even know about her until a client told me, like, maybe like 7 years ago. And it was like exactly what I was like doing with clients. And I didn't even know that it was like a thing. So,
Yeah.
anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, the body
Yeah.
keeps
Like,
score.
well,
That's
it's crazy because Western medicine doesn't even some naturopaths, like they don't they don't even look at our spiritual body one bit. And that is such a core component. And that's where I think the fall of Western medicine really started, is where they just took everything and made it so scientific, I guess. And like everything was based on lab tests. I've worked for naturopaths who like don't even think that some lab tests are even like really necessary, like
my own
overdoing it.
boss never like he gave he literally gave me something was it Synthroid? I think that's what it was like for my thyroid without blood tests. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is that normal? I'm like 20 years old. I'm just like, okay, whatever you say. But it helped like that little bit that I got, and then I couldn't get it again. Right. And that's why, like when I quit
Yeah.
working for him and I started having more issues. But sorry, keep going.
Oh, it's just
Just had to
the
chime in
fall of
there.
Western medicine. I mean, like Western medicine is like if we could take like Ayurveda, like
Mm.
Eastern, like Ayurveda, and we could take like an integrative approach. I know that in Hawaii, the medical facilities there, a lot of them are integrative to where they
We
use a
have a couple
Western and
here. Do you know
yeah,
that?
yeah,
That they have like some like hospital or center that I don't know if it's true, but I swear one of my clients was like telling me about like med beds or something, or that they were like about to get med beds or something like that, but that
nice.
they have like, it integrative and it's like
Yeah,
actually like they all connect, kind of like how
yeah.
we were saying, like they don't
The
even
VA here
communicate.
is like
Like,
that.
really?
Yeah, the VA in Spokane, because
That's
my
kind of cool.
husband is a veteran. The VA in Spokane, so he had cyclical vomiting syndrome because they kept
Oh,
they kept switching his pills around and he became allergic to them, and they kept
oh my
gaslighting him
God.
and telling him that oh, you can't possibly be allergic to these antidepressants. You can't possibly have
What
this
did they have him
happening.
on?
It was
Sorry, guys.
sertraline. They had him on sertraline, which is Zoloft. And they had him on Zoloft and he started vomiting every morning after he would take it.
How long
And
was he on it for?
a year. And we went to three different emergency rooms with him having cyclical vomiting episodes, and they kept turning him away and saying that there's no way that it could be a medication. We finally went to go see a
God, it's so
naturopathic physician.
frustrating.
Yeah, and we finally went to go see a naturopath who was like, this is your problem. You're allergic to this, and like your genetics, you don't have the proper enzymes to uptake this, and so it's causing stomach migraines, and like it was making
Wow.
him miserable. Yeah, he was
I
miserable.
bet I had HG during my pregnancies, which is basically just a fancy way to say I threw up a ton. And I wouldn't wish that upon anyone.
Yeah.
That's intense.
But the clinic in Spokane is integrative, and they started prescribing him acupuncture. And so he started going
Did
to
that help?
acupuncture. Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't vomit like hardly ever now. I mean, like he does still have like when they switch his medications up, he's been having some, like he's been having a remission right now, is what I'm calling it. But they
Mhm.
they didn't know what to do with him, and he was on like the burn pits and stuff. And I think it was a buildup of toxicity in his body from being on the burn pits in Afghanistan and like needing to do a full detox and like pulling out the heavy metals and stuff. And the back to what I was saying about Quincy in the soil, from glycophosphate. When I was working in naturopathic medicine, the the people with the highest amount of heavy metals in their bloodstream and in their urine lived in Quincy. And
What?
they had the
Why?
highest amount of heavy metals
Because
because
of
of
the
all
glyphosate
because
or
of
the however you say that?
glycophosphate.
I can't say it,
Phosphate. Yeah,
glycophosphate.
because of all of the spraying and the pesticides, they had
Is
the
that like
highest amount.
Roundup type of thing?
Yes,
Is
it is
that
Roundup. Yes, it
okay?
is Roundup. Yeah. Yeah, it's Roundup, and it just destroyed their systems. And once they detoxed from that and did like a little bit of DMSA, it ended
Is
up
that like
helping.
Diamectus, the earths? What is DMSA?
A DMSA is it's a medication that helps to chelate and pull all the heavy metals out of your system. You have to do it in an
Okay.
IV style, and so like it will help to pull out the heavy metals, and then you'll excrete it through
And
through
it's a really
your
brutal
urine.
process, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, like it's kind of like
You just
intense
poop and
detox.
you just like poop and pee a lot. Like you just like, go through these things a lot. In Mexico they have these medical spas where you can go get like colonoscopies and like heavy metal detoxes and all this stuff that my uncle just went to and said it was freaking awesome. Like it's really sad how Western medicine has like and like okay, so COVID, we're gonna
Oh
go there.
God, here we
Like
go.
2020, I
Like this
know.
is we're gonna be on
Like,
here
here
all
we
day,
go,
you
here we
guys.
go.
We're not getting done
Well,
ever.
well, but think about it. All of the naturopathic physicians, this is like the biggest beef that I had. I literally got let go from my position because I was standing against um
The
all
vaccine,
all of the not just the vaccine, but all of the restrictions,
masks.
the masks, the
I
6 foot
refuse to
rule,
wear a
all of
mask.
it. And I
Lacey's
literally
running up and hugging patients. They're like, you can't do this.
Oh,
We would
no.
talk.
Well, like I was literally saying I was questioning things and she was like, "You're scaring people." And she let me
Good.
go because I was literally asking questions. But the fact of the matter is they compromised their integrity because the like all of the naturopaths in our valley here, except for two, compromised their integrity and required their staff members themselves and pushed that the shot on all of their people. And it's like it was all political, and it was like where did we go from being like having a delayed schedule and like being like not for these things to all of a sudden you must like, and there was
That's
no long-term
really,
research. And when
no, that
I
was terrifying. The whole thing, like the whole,
but that's the fall of the Western medical system, and now it's pulling naturopaths in. And so what do we do about it, right? Like what do we do as like we're just little people. We're just like basically like we're alternative practitioners, so to speak.
But
You and I are. Yeah, go
that
for it.
goes back to what you were saying though about that trusting them because they're these trained professionals, right? So what's interesting is that I've had a lot of jobs, different jobs that required physical labor. You're in retail, you're in a warehouse, you're either working with other people. And what I found was interesting is in those low level jobs, you're required to go to work sick. You can say, I'm sick and I
Yeah.
oh
don't
yeah, I
want
used to
to
work retail. Yeah, like
Yeah.
at a
And like,
grocery store where I'm like
yeah,
touching
they're like,
people's food.
yeah, they're like, take a Dayquil and shut up. They didn't even make you wear a mask, right? And then all your crew would be sick. And then everybody would be going out. You'd be on a skeleton crew until the whole flu or whatever it was that you had ran through every single one of your coworkers. And even then, I used to be like, hey, I'm sick. I'm going to stay home.
Yeah.
And even with like, it's like I was talking to Lacy about it. The guy who it was like 1847.
I
He
was
was like,
hoping you
hey, yeah, he was. So his name is Ignace Semmelweis, and
How did you
actually,
remember that? Do you like have that
it's
written
I
down
don't just
somewhere?
I thought it was well he ended up in an asylum so they just this is before germ theory so they didn't
Okay.
know yet so he worked in a hospital and he had realized that the midwives had a lower infant mortality rate and the women had a lower infection rate and
Oh.
he had thought that and this is the beginning of autopsies, working on cadavers, things like that. And he was like, I think if we washed our hands after washing like touching the cadavers and then going and helping these women, we could reduce it. I put this in my note. So it dropped from 18% infection rate to 1.27% because he just implemented the
Shut up.
experiment. He was like, and they were like, we don't believe you. He ended up, yeah, in an asylum. The whole medical community kicked him out.
You've
They were
got to
like,
be
you're
kidding me.
crazy. No, they told him like it, he ended up kind of, they once they
He was
started,
right.
he was right, but once they started to figure out germ theory, like they were like, you're not telling me that I'm killing these women. Like it's my responsibility. He's like, all I'm saying is like maybe wash your hands, right? And it was such a simple thing. And I thought
Yeah.
in COVID, like going back to that, where it was like someone who's like, okay, like, but if you wash your hands and you stay home while you're sick, everyone could probably go outside and get each other's like healthy
Yeah.
germs on each
Immunity.
other and then build that
Yeah.
immunity. Like if you were, compromised your immune system in some way, like little babies, if you're elderly, if you probably would have got the flu shot, you probably should have, hung out. But I mean, people were like over sanitizing stuff, which is another funny one because I forgot what the name of it is. It's in Dial soap,
Yeah.
triclosan.
Yep.
It's an
Rickettsia.
endocrine disruptor.
Yep.
So you like just wash your hands. Like soap and water really is fine.
Yep.
Um, that's how you reduce germ load.
Yep.
So a lot of those really simple things, we could have had a totally different COVID experience if instead of everyone
It was all
panicking.
manufactured. They did that on purpose. It was all part of, it was a fucking bioweapon, in my
But
opinion.
it's
I don't,
but we don't trust ourselves, right, to know that thing. Like wash your hands. Like this guy's just like wash your hands. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I drank out of the hose in the backyard, and then as an adult, they were like, "Did you know slugs live in the garden hose?" And I was
who
like, "That's
gives a
kind of
shit?
gross." I was like, "But whatever. I probably drank some slug water. Like it's probably good for my immune system, but
Right?
it is good for your
Well,
system to some degree, being around certain
slugs
things."
cause heartworms, you guys. Hope you know.
Well, I
What?
mean, I think I'm okay, but
I don't think
but
she's still eating slugs.
I'm not still eating
No.
slugs, but it's funny though because I had to see a cardiologist when I had first got diagnosed with this thyroid thing because it caused heart palpitations.
Oh
And
yeah, because when it goes hyper, I
yep,
had mine go hyper, and I thought I was on crack, and I was,
yeah, it
or you
was
would think I was, because I was
yeah,
like I couldn't sit still, and I couldn't stop losing weight, and
it
everyone's
was
like,
like
"You
I was
look
having
so
a panic
good."
attack all the time.
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah,
look like you're like on meth. Like, no, you don't. But like, it was
no,
like
I know what
when
you're
you're in
saying.
that, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
No,
Like,
I
like
dropped 10 pounds in
sweating.
like 2 weeks and sweating. Yep. So, but he was talking to me about it because I had to do a heart test and I was kind of concerned about it because I'd never fainted before. And I was like, well, I hope my heart's okay. I definitely
Mm.
didn't take care of myself when I was younger. But he was like, no, you have to understand that most of the people who come in here, like, they're a little thicker. And he said they can't even get an accurate read of their heart sometimes, or they don't push themselves to that point where like they could get the accurate read on their heart. So what I find interesting is even with going into Western medicine, I have a pretty good relationship with all of my doctors right now, but I'm always like, okay, I'm not eating McDonald's. I'm not working out right now, but this is how I do when I can, and this is how I feel. And every single one of them has said, you're in tune with your body, though. So it's easier to help you because you're not just coming in,
They're right.
not knowing what's going on, and saying, give me a drug and fix it. So it's not even always Western medicine, right? It's even that same COVID experience. Like, wash your hands, use logic, take a step back, and think about what's going on. How do you keep yourself safe? And everyone's like, everyone
Yeah.
right
Everyone was
now.
freaking out. Did anybody get like attacked by random people in public? Because like I did. I remember old men, like this 80-year-old man started like screaming at me because my grocery cart was within his 6 feet. I'm like, dude, go home. Like seriously. And
I
like
had people
he's,
yell about me about masks, but
yeah, I
the other
refuse to wear
day,
those too.
dude, the other day one of my friends was like, "Oh, I'm getting sick. It's mask season again." And I was like, "No." I was like, "What happens when people have these things
It
on and
doesn't
then
even
they're
help.
well, it's not even
Num
that either. Like it doesn't help number one. Okay, number one, it doesn't help. Number two, if you are coughing in your mask and then you start adjusting it and you're like messing with it and stuff, what happens to your hands, everyone? Like
You
you're
have to
just gonna
wash
get
your
the
hands
germs
again.
all over your
Mhm.
hands. Like, hello, and it's
And I think
crazy.
it causes like pneumonia or something. I remember reading something about that back then,
It
that people who
traps
are wearing it
microbes
too
and like
much.
yeah, it traps microbes and dust and like it actually makes you sicker. And so people like have it in this the only time you ever really want to wear one of those things is if you're being exposed to like wildfire smoke, asbestos, or like small particles that can get into your lungs, or if you're visiting somebody in like
Like
in
ICU.
ICU and you just like want to have extra precautions. Like that's the only time you don't want to wear it. And then they like throwing it in there. I saw one of my cousins had one in her like cup holder. And I'm like, because
Ew.
that's gonna do
Yeah.
it. Like that's disgusting. You have no idea what's
I
in
had a
it.
lace one. I got some lace one off of
I
Etsy,
saw those. Yeah.
and my dog. I had to go to like into the doctor, and they're like, "That doesn't count." I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Like I was,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. So we're almost reaching our time, you guys. Gosh, it's already been an hour. This is crazy. What else would you like to say before we log off, Xavia? Like, did you have anything else you really want? I really like I love what you talk about with the hand washing because a lot of people don't even recognize that. And honestly, we all need to thank the good Lord every single day for waste management and modern sanitization.
I
Like,
was teaching my kids about that the other day, about the whole sanitation thing, and like London, what they used to do with like their waste, like, and how I think like the plague started like
yeah,
from that, like, basically. But
It was rats too. And I think that's the big thing is we forget like animals specifically are carriers of these flus and things like that. And
yeah,
so the closer we are to them, then the more likely they are to pass it to us.
yeah,
So it's just still that washing your hands, keeping your house clean, keeping your body clean, eating
yep,
well, keeping
yep,
your immune system up. Like those are the things that no doctor can really help you with, right? Those are
mm,
kind of personal choices. It's like psychology. You're not going to get help if you don't want help. And
right,
the body works the same way, right? And spiritually, it works the same way too. Who are you asking? What are you asking for? It all kind
yeah.
of goes together. Just know yourself. And if you don't, have fun discovering those things because that's what you're here for.
what we're here for, literally.
It's really sad that our grandparents' generation, I feel like they are so disconnected to their bodies because of Western medicine and because of television. They're just so disconnected from their intuition and what their bodies are. And I've met a lot of people, and I used to be this way back when I was like really young. I wasn't in tune. I was overweight and I was not in tune with like what my body needed, like hunger cues. Like some people don't even listen to their hunger cues, or like if you're feeling a certain like way in your body, a lot of people are just really disconnected from that. And I think that the cool thing about our generation is that we are really paving the way for being intuitive in our bodies and like listening to our bodies and like listening
Intuitive
to
eating. That's what I call, as I used to. I've tried so many like diets, and like,
oh
I was like
yeah,
vegan and raw vegan and freaking vegetarian and then
yep,
carnivore and like all the things.
yep,
But ultimately, I think that we all need to be able to pay attention to what feels right in our body and what doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't show up on tests, right? Like you
yep,
go get an allergy test and it doesn't show that like you have like a sensitivity to
yep,
something necessarily, right? And you can have like
yeah.
histamine reactions, and we don't realize how much what we are consuming affects us. Like,
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. So anything else you wanted to share, Savia?
I mean, I think that we touched on a lot. We could
Yeah.
probably talk for hours and hours. So
Oh
I know,
my
I
God. I
love
know.
like connecting with you. You're awesome. We're gonna
I
have to
know. I
like
know. I knew
have
she'd
you
be
on
one of us.
again.
I like she's one of
thanks for
us.
having me.
It's like you're one of us. You're easy to just slide in and go to town. Like I would love to have like a panel where we all just talk for like hours and hours about all the crazy stuff. There's so many things
I'm
because it leads.
down.
It's just like last time, the last one that we did,
Rabbit
Alyssa, like
holes.
rabbit
Yes.
holes,
Hmm.
dude. Like
Like
that's
one thing goes into the next and the next. And
down the
yeah,
rabbit hole. And here we are. Here we are down the rabbit hole. All right, you guys, it was so good to see you both, and it was so
Yeah,
good for
you
all you
too.
listeners who are tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share here on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you find us. Share with your friends, and we will see you again next time. And if you want to be a guest on our show or you have a cool topic you want us to touch on, please send one of us a message. You can join our group on Facebook, Down the Rabbit Hole with Sapphire Soul and Morning Moon. We hope to see you again next time. Ciao.